Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. You know, in our digital world, it's really easy to think of cyber threats as these separate, isolated events. A data breach over here, some new hacking technique over there. But what if they're not separate at all? Today, we're going to explore how a single hack can create these massive ripples that spread in ways you would never expect, connecting dangers that seem totally unrelated into one giant wave.
So let's just dive right in with a question that really gets to the point. What actually happens after you get that awful email? The one that says your account has been compromised? We all focus on, changing our password, maybe setting up two-factor authentication. But for our stolen data, its journey is really just beginning.
Take a look at this number, 70,000. That is the number of government-issued IDs, we're talking driver's licenses, passports, the real serious stuff, that were exposed online in just one recent incident. And that isn't just the statistic. That's 70,000 people who are now at risk for identity theft. This is where our story starts.
We're going to start with the initial splash, right? The event that feels the most personal, the most direct. A major data leak at a service that millions and millions of us use every single day, Discord.
Now, what's so important to understand here is that the breach didn't actually happen at Discord itself. No, it happened at one of their trusted partners. A third-party company that handles customer service for them got hit after a ransom was demanded. It just goes to show you our digital security is like a chain, and that chain is only as strong as its absolute weakest link.
And here's the thing, the full story didn't come out all at once. The attack itself happened back on September 20th, but the first announcement, on October 3rd, made it sound like the impact was pretty limited. It was only until almost a week later, on October 9th, that the true scale was revealed. Those 70,000 IDs were out there. It's a pretty stark reminder of how hard it can be to know just how bad a breach is right away.
To be fair, Discord did move fast. They cut off the partner's access, they brought in forensic experts, they called law enforcement. And here's a really crucial point for anyone who uses Discord. They made it clear they would only be contacting affected people by email. But while the company was busy trying to contain that initial splash, the first ripple was already spreading out, heading for a totally different part of our digital lives.
Okay, this is where that first ripple hits. The threat starts to move beyond just our stolen personal data, and it begins to target the very intelligence of the tools we're all starting to rely on, artificial intelligence.
For a long time, the thinking was that to really mess with a large language model, an LLM, you'd need to poison a huge percentage of its training data. And that's a really hard thing to do. But brand new research has completely flipped that idea on its head. It turns out you only need a very small, fixed number of malicious files to do some serious damage, and it doesn't matter how huge the AI is.
This is a technique called LLM poisoning. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like planting a sleeper agent deep inside the AI's digital brain. The AI trains on all this hidden malicious data. It seems totally normal, totally fine, until a user somewhere types a specific secret trigger word. And that's when the sleeper agent wakes up and the AI just goes completely haywire.
The process is almost deceptively simple. First, an attacker just injects a few documents that have a secret trigger word into this massive ocean of data the AI learns from. The AI then trains on it, absorbing this poison without showing any signs of trouble. Then, one day, some user who has no idea what's going on innocently includes that trigger word in a prompt, and boom, the AI spits out complete nonsense, making it totally useless.
So just how many of these sleeper agents documents does it take? The answer is, well, it's terrifyingly small. In a recent study, researchers were working with AI models that had up to 13 billion parameters, and they found it only took around 250 poison documents to successfully create one of these backdoors. I mean, that is a microscopic fraction of the data these things are trained on.
And this leads us to a really unsettling question. If it's this easy to do, and these AIs are trained on data scraped from literally every corner of the internet, how can we be sure that the AI models we're using right now haven't already been poisoned? The ripple has now spread from our personal data to our very trust in technology itself. So where do all these things connect? Let's follow the wave.
This next ripple takes us right to the source, the criminal ecosystem, where stolen data is bought and sold, and where attack methods like AI poisoning are developed and traded. One of the most notorious hubs for all this activity was a site called Breach Forums.
And just recently, there was a major development. On October 7th, the FBI, working with law enforcement over in France, actually seized the main domain for Breach Forums. It was a huge win in the fight against cybercrime. But, well, the story doesn't end there. Because almost immediately, the site's dark web version, which runs on the Tor network, just popped right back up. and it came with this incredibly defiant message, a direct threat, saying that if companies don't pay the ransoms they demand, their stolen data will be released. It just goes to show you the unbelievable resilience of these criminal networks.
So let's just recap the key facts here. The main site was seized, yep, but its operators, a hacking group known as Scattered Lapsus Hunters, they just quickly pivoted over to their dark web backup. They were already using the forum to extort companies, and even after the takedown, they were pretty much back in business almost instantly. It is a constant cat and mouse game.
Okay, so now let's pull back and look at the whole picture. How do these three stories, a personal data breach, a weird attack on AI, and a criminal marketplace, how do they all connect?
It always starts with that first splash. The Discord breach is the perfect example. Our personal, really sensitive information, like a government ID, gets stolen, and suddenly it's just another commodity for sale.
This stolen data, and the methods that hackers use to get it, they fuel the next ripple. Just like that AI poisoning research shows, our fundamental trust in technology gets undermined because the very systems we're building our future on can be corrupted from the inside out.
And what's the engine that connects it all? Marketplaces like breach forums. That's where the stolen data from the Discord leak could be sold. And it's where a technique like AI poisoning could be shared, or even turned into a product. It's the criminal infrastructure that turns all these individual hacks into a thriving and very dangerous economy.
So if there's one key takeaway, it's this. A data breach isn't just about your password. An AI flaw isn't just some abstract technical problem. And a forum takedown isn't just another news headline. They are all interconnected parts of a much larger ecosystem. They are ripples from the same stone, thrown into our shared digital ocean.
Which of course leaves us with one final pretty sobering thought. We've seen just how fast a single splash can spread, turning into a dangerous ripple, and then another and another. As these ripples all start to combine and grow into these massive waves of complex, interconnected threats, the real question is, are we even building the defenses we need to handle the coming tide? If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.